So first topic, this is an interesting one because I don't feel like it's chatted or talked about nearly anywhere, which is budget allocation and for advertising, how to do it and different ways to do it. So there's multiple ways to look at this matrix in your mind, and it's not something you can put into ChatGPT. You've got to have like this mental model for it. Is when you've got a budget from a client, depending on if you're just doing Google Ads or even multi-channel, you've got to set out that budget based on to get the maximum results or based on the client, whatever their outcomes are. So if you're given a budget of, let's say, $10,000 or $50,000 a month or 2,000, whatever it is, you've got to decide, is that for multiple channels or just a single channel? And even if it's in a single channel, how do you distribute that money? Is it based on if something's getting a low cost per lead or a high return on ad spend? Or are we focusing, putting budget towards things that are getting poor results, but the client wants to grow? Or things like, what was the other one? Or like uncapped budgets, especially when you've got a product or a line of business or even the whole account that if you're hitting a certain KPI, you agree with the client to have an uncapped budget based on if you're hitting those metrics. So I bring this up because I work with a lot of clients from small to large companies, and I noticed probably one of the most important things whilst managing, not setting up, but managing the account is the budget allocation and segmentation. I've just noticed over time, it's just one of these things that no one talks about, yet it's probably the most high priority thing you can do. Number one, because if you're underspending, huge issue, lost opportunities. If you're overspending, massive, massive problem.
Yeah.
And then also if you're distributing the money inappropriately, you're just not getting the right results effectively. So whilst I've kind of just skimmed a layer of all of that, what are your thoughts on this, Cory? Like, we're having a discussion here, mate.
Yeah, look, budget allocation is the number one. Like, to me, it's got to be up there. If it's not number one, it's in the top three of most important regular tasks that you're going to do in account management, whether that's in Facebook, meta advertising, Snapchat, Google, you name it. If you're going to be buying media space for a client or you're doing it for your business, budget allocation needs to always be foremost in your mind. Why? Well, you're trying to pay for either eyeballs on something or traffic to something, right? And within that, you need to be deciding with this money, where are we going to invest that intelligently? Now, a lot of that's going to be dependent on whatever your business objectives are, not necessarily just at a campaign level. You're not just saying, okay, well, we have these campaigns. This one makes this many conversions, so it makes the most amount of conversions. Let's make sure all the budget just goes there, and let's just think in a vacuum. You need to expand that out to all of your marketing. What are the channels that are making us the most amount of money? And not just that, if we want to get more sophisticated, it's not just that campaign is doing so well. What might be funneling traffic into that campaign that's getting credit for conversion? So that is a whole nother conversation around attribution, and make sure you're funneling things that lead to the thing that you want, conversions down the line. But those are some of the things I think of right away, is just that the massive importance and prioritization of budget allocation in general.
Yeah. And it's interesting that we've both said that it's either it's the top or the top three things, but this is rarely talked about. It's because most people just treat it like a background, a very static thing. Like, budget is $5,000 a month, $2,000, 10 month. And it's just like, spend that as much as close to it. And then we're ticking that off, rather than going, how is that being allocated? Is the budget even appropriate? Is it too low? Is it too high? Like, questioning the budget. Questioning, hey, is that a fixed budget or is it flexible based on performance? So there's actually the amount, is it right amount, and is there flexibility? Then it's the actual distribution of the budget towards, okay, what are our outcomes and what percentage of budgets are we wanting to allocate towards this line of business? Because the client might go, hey, we need to hit this goal, but we want to focus on this. But the budget does not allow for that. So actually understanding the budget and just being really analytical about it, you can go, you can do this and you can do this, but you can't do them both at the same time, at least to the extent that you want to. Like, we want to be allocating 20% here, but we need to hit this amount. It's like, well, firstly, the cost per click is this amount. This is how many clicks you need for a conversion or a sale. And the numbers are not going to hit either in terms of a cost per lead, ROAS, or a volume. And whilst I'm saying a lot of things right now, the basic summary of it is this. Just be very clear on budgets. Question budgets all the time. Question the allocation of the budget and the distribution of it. And the distribution, when people say, oh, let's put 20% here, go, why do we put it there? Or if someone goes, hey, we've got to focus on this area, they go, why do we need to focus on this area? And then even if you go, that area is like, how much budget do we need to be successful there? It's just, there's so many layers of questioning and mapping this out. You just cannot go, our budget's $10,000 a month, hands off. It's like,
Yeah.
why is it $10,000? Could it be 15? Could it be 20? Could it be 5? And we put that 5K into another channel.
Right.
Why are we putting 20% to this line of business and 80% here? Why don't we flip it? It's just like, I didn't even, when I'm speaking about this out loud, I don't speak about this out loud with people because it's just so in the back of my mind, this distribution of it. But I just realized like, this is a big flaw in a lot of accounts and a lot of businesses. They're just like, we want results from this channel and here's our budget, do your magic. And it's like,
yeah,
oh,
you do. When you ask that question, how did you guys come up with that number? 10,000, 2,000, 50,000, where it's, a lot of the time they just sort of like, well, that's what XYZ said we could allocate towards Google ads.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you confer with the person managing your account that that's a realistic number that you should be spending, or should you be spending more? It's a lot of companies that sort of discuss it internally and just say like, hey, look, we got 20 grand this quarter for marketing. You guys divvy up that 20 grand. You tell us. Smaller companies, a little bit more like they just sort of pull the number out. It's like, I don't know, 2,000 sounds like a lot of money to me based on how much we make. So let's just start with 2,000. But definitely work with your advertising specialist on this. If you're working with an agency, you're working with a freelancer, really work with them on deciding what's a fair amount of budget for something. Like push back. If they just say, hey, I think we should be spending more on these campaigns or this channel, ask them why and ask them, well, how much are you thinking? Like that is a fair question, because they should be able, with their own specialized knowledge and tools, to kind of forecast and extrapolate out to some degree. It's not going to be perfect, 100% accurate, but to some degree, they should be able to say, well, the reason I think we should feed more to campaign A is we're getting this amount of percentage of conversions from that. I'm seeing that it's also funneling conversions down the line to other channels or other campaigns in this channel. We're making this much profit from this. Or maybe I'm forecasting out that like next month is going to be a big month for us if we don't run any promos. So let's take advantage of that and let's funnel more money into that. So having somebody you're working with, or at least the ability to kind of forecast out and model some of those projections, is going to be really helpful. It's a little bit more advanced, and Google gives you some built-in tools that a lot of studies have shown are not very accurate in terms of planning your budget. But I just want to stress, make sure that you guys are working with somebody that can help you decide what's a decent budget. Because the worst thing you could do is only put 5,000 when you could have done 10, and then you get a certain amount of conversions, and you're capping your growth and you're capping a good solid foundation of data acquisition.